Today, I have the honor of introducing a man who needs no introduction. That man is my father.
He would be the best president.
He is a confident guy. He's an amazing guy. Everything he's ever touched turns to gold.
He's fed up with what's going on in this country.
When he speaks as a person. He speaks not in the little one-word sound bites.
Who's gonna pay for the wall?
I know my husband is strong, tough, great leader.
He doesn't get enough credit for being the businessman that he is and creating what he's created.
I'm just proud of how well he's doing. I think he's incredibly proud of how well he's doing.
He is incredibly smart, incredibly knowledgeable.
If he was in the biggest meeting of his life, if we called, he would pick up the phone.
He will do what that country needs.
He's a businessman. He's created jobs.
I have a great family. I really have a great family, so I just want to thank all of you.
I think he would be an absolutely phenomenal president.
Yes, it's time to meet the Trumps. Yes, the Trump family, ready to go on the record to tell you what they really think about Donald Trump's run for the White House. Plus, are the Trumps ready to be America's first family? Tonight, we take you behind the scenes, inside Trump Tower for a tour with Melania. But that's not all. On the Record gets a sneak peek of the Trump Hotel 2 blocks from the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue. And one-on-one interviews with Melania Trump, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka. They're all here. But first, who is Donald Trump, and is he ready to be president of the United States?
We need a leader that wrote The Art of the Deal.
You know him as the Donald, and there's a chance he may be your next president.
I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
1968, Donald J. Trump graduates from the prestigious Wharton School and starts working at his father's real estate business. Donald quickly makes a name for himself by moving the company's focus to Manhattan and turning the Trump Organization into a global brand.
I'm Donald Trump, and I have properties all over the place.
Before long, the Donald becomes New York's most well-known and controversial developer, making huge deals. New York's Grand Hyatt in 1974, Trump Tower in 1979, the Atlantic City, New Jersey casinos, 1980. Later, it would be golf courses, more hotels, and yes, more buildings in New York and around the world. And in 1987, the Donald publishing his #1 best-selling book, The Art of the Deal.
I like making deals, preferably big deals. That's how I get my kicks.
But in the early 1990s total crisis, a major decline in the real estate market, and massive losses for his company. The result? Corporate bankruptcy for some of his properties. But under Trump's leadership, his company not only survived, but was ready for the future. The Donald, starring in the hit TV show The Apprentice. And of course, we all remember this.
I don't like excuses. You're fired.
And Trump also making a name for himself in politics, sparking controversy by demanding a copy of President Obama's long-form birth certificate.
I'm very honored to have gotten him to release his long-form birth certificate, or whatever it may be.
And after considering it many times before, the deal-making billionaire is officially running for president.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
And you've seen her on the cover of Vogue and so many other magazines. And now, well, she could be your next First Lady. Mrs. Trump taking us behind the scenes and on a tour of the Trump's expansive penthouse in Fifth Avenue's Trump Tower. But first, Melania Trump and how she met her husband, Donald Trump, and what he's like when he's not on camera. Where'd you meet him? Did you like him immediately or not? And when was the next time you saw him? So you called him. He didn't call you. And so then you went out on a date? Where'd you go? Did you think, well, maybe there's a possibility with this guy? You know, I might want to marry him later, or was that way too soon? Well, so it was several years later before you got married. How many years? So he asked you to marry you. Where were you when he asked you to marry you? No hesitation? I don't wish hardship on anybody, but hardship oftentimes shapes one in some ways. What do you think is probably his worst hardship in life? What's been tough for him? How old was he when that happened about? And what happened to his brother? You know his other children, of course.
Yes.
Do you get along with them? Do you get a knot in your stomach at the debates with Donald up on the stage?
No.
You don't at all
No, I
get nervous
don't.
for your husband?
No.
How can you not? And there isn't 1 ounce of nerves for you? Well, he certainly has. I mean, he's getting the votes. He certainly
Yes.
he's getting a lot of votes. Is this what you expected? What's the one word do you think that describes him? You will hear more from Melania, but who are the Trumps? What are they like? And are they ready to possibly be America's first family? It's time to meet the Trump family. First, meet Melania. Take a look at her, a Slovenian model, a mother, and a successful businesswoman. And of course, there's Donald Trump Jr., the firstborn son and graduate of the prestigious Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. And of course, we all know Ivanka, a business mogul running her own successful fashion brand. And Eric Trump, he's an avid hunter and a bigwig at the Trump Organization. And that's not it. There's also Tiffany Trump, who keeps a low profile. And of course, there is Barron, the youngest Trump. He's growing up in Trump Tower. And the family is here. Ivanka, Donald Jr., and Eric ready to go on the record. Meet the Trumps in just minutes. Also, is Melania Trump, the superstar model and mother, ready to be First Lady? More Melania on the record from inside Trump Tower, straight ahead. Donna, what do you think of your wife Melania's interview when she did her interview with us on the record? You know her from the cover of Vogue and so many other magazines. But who is Melania Trump? Here's the question I've wanted to ask you for a long time. How many languages do you speak? What ones? English, obviously. You grew up in Slovenia? And what language did you speak there as a child?
Slovenian.
Is there more than one dialect? And when you were a little kid, I take it you never thought as a child that someday you might be the First Lady of the United States. What did your father do for a living? When did you become a professional model? About what age? Why did you come to New York? Why not stay in Paris or Milan? Well, you bring up the issue of immigration. You came here legally.
Correct.
I take it that's a big deal to you. Do you have a dual citizenship with Slovenia now or not? But when you travel on which passport? Is it fun to be an American? Do you feel bad about sort of, leaving sort of your former country? What magazines have you been on the cover of? Which is the top one? Is it Vogue? And
Vogue.
And when were you on Vogue? How long ago? After marrying Donald Trump.
Yes.
And Melania is not the only woman in Donald's life. His daughters Tiffany and Ivanka also hold a major piece of his heart. Back in 2014, before her father announced his candidacy, Ivanka Trump went on the record to talk about a possible run. Take a look. Here's a question I always ask your father, only this is a slight different one. Is he going to run for president, or do you want him to run for president? And now it's time to meet the sons, Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr., going on the record straight ahead. Plus special access inside the Trump's apartment. Melania takes you on a tour. That's next. It's time to meet the Trumps, and now Melania Trump takes us inside the Trump penthouse in Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. Before he decided he's going to run for president, what was your day like? I mean, what time did Donald get home from work? He doesn't drink, right? And your son is how old? Who is the disciplinarian, you or Donald? And here's some pictures, actually.
Yes, yes.
Are you tough? You're a tough parent? There's a perception by some that Donald's got a rough reputation with women. That he's got rough language with women. I don't know how else to say it. What do you want to say to that? Is he funny?
He's funny.
What annoys him? What does he get mad about? What doesn't he like?
Stupidity.
Who's more likely to apologize first in a fight, you or Donald? You've never had a fight?
No.
Never have an argument? It never gets heated? You've never had an argument? Well, the rest of us argue a little bit. I got to tell you, at least I think maybe not.
No.
So these are great pictures. This is your son. Is this Donald? Is that Donald with him? And of course, there he is on the cover of the magazine.
Yeah.
Are your parents still living? And of course, it helps with all the traveling too.
Yes, of course.
So, what is it like to grow up Trump? Eric Trump goes on the record. It's nice to see Eric. Very well. So your father says he's a strong negotiator. You work with your father. Give me an example, what he means by that. All right. Growing up, was he the disciplinarian in the family? All right, at age 10, for instance, was he teaching you how to ride a bicycle or throw a baseball, or were you like out negotiating deals and looking at real estate? Do you want him to be president? What do you make of his sort of spicy language? I mean, he has very spicy language, very blunt, calls people stupid. He's called people out. He's, he doesn't suffer fools, and and sometimes he punches back real hard. All right, so who gets the family business if he should become president? I mean, you've got 2 siblings, and the 3 of you have been working with your father for a long time. Who's going to be the CEO? I guess that's a no answer. I mean, I don't get the answer. I don't get which sibling's going to be, stepping all over which other sibling. I don't get that. I don't get that. And the oldest son, Donald Trump Jr., also going on the record to talk about his family. All right, your brother's been here, and I asked him this question or something like it, so I ask you. Growing up, what was he like as a father? Was he a disciplinarian? Is this tough on the family, on the 3 of you adult children? I mean, does this, as you sort of sit by, I mean, you obviously hear there's some nice things that's said about your father, but not some not so nice things. Is that tough? Do you think he wants to be president? When you were a kid, did you play catch with him or go look at property? And I should add, that is your age. Anyway, Donald, thank you very much. And more Melania. What does she think about possibly becoming the next First Lady? You'll hear from Melania in just minutes. Plus, right here and on the record, Donald Trump and Melania Trump together, and they are taking you inside Trump's new hotel just 2 blocks from the White House. Meet the Trumps continues next. What kind of First Lady would she be?
First Lady.
What are you going to have here? A hotel with about how many rooms? Who is this? Do you think he would like to be First Lady? He's a wild man, isn't he? Is it safe to say Donald is never dull? You know how the family feels about Donald Trump as both a husband and father, but how do they handle hitting the campaign trail to try and get him in the White House? Take a look at Melania and the Trump children on the trail. So what does Melania think about possibly becoming the next First Lady? That's next. Do you think she wants to be First Lady? What does Melania think about possibly becoming First Lady of the United States? Would you be a good First Lady, do you think? Why? I know you do a lot of charities. Is there one that sort of stands out that where your heart really is, the charities? That Make-A-Wish is pretty amazing.
Make-A-Wish is fantastic.
Tough on those children.
Very tough.
They deal with so much.
Yes.
Have you ever been in the White House? Never been there. Your husband's restoring that hotel that you and I actually, we spoke before at that hotel.
Yes.
Is the media fair to your husband? In what way? Why do you think that? You got married down in Florida? And Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the president was there. What are your thoughts about that? Have you ever socialized with them besides the wedding with the Clintons? Any thoughts about if Secretary Clinton is his opponent? So it's going to get probably pretty rugged, I imagine, between the 2 of them, if they're both the candidate. And that's okay with you. And coming up, Donald Trump's thoughts about his family. That's next. You have a big family. How does Melania get along with the family?